No one in Madrid believed collapse was possible in 1600. No one in London believed it in 1940. No one in Moscow believed it in 1988. And right now, almost no one in Washington believes it. But the math doesn't care about belief. The question now isn't if collapse happens, it's when. This is the empire collapse pattern in 7 stages. Stage 1. Military overextension. The first sign of collapse always starts the same way. A superpower stretches itself too far. Spain did it when it fought half the world at once. Britain did it defending colonies on 6 continents. The Soviets did it trying to match American power everywhere from Afghanistan to Cuba. And America has taken that template and supersized it. Over 750 military bases in 80 countries. Troops in 150 more. A defense budget of $850 billion a year, more than the next 10 nations combined. We're promising to defend Europe through NATO, Japan and South Korea in Asia, Israel and the Gulf in the Middle East, and somehow also counter China everywhere it moves. That's not strategy, that's overreach. Equipment is aging, recruitment is down, and if 2 crises happen at once, say China moves on Taiwan while Iran blocks the Persian Gulf, there's no realistic way to handle both. The same cracks Spain, Britain, and the Soviets ignored are forming in real time. The moment a nation can't fund its reach through real work, it funds it through illusion. And that's exactly where the next stage begins. Stage 2. Currency debasement. When an empire can't afford its ambitions, it prints. In the past 20 years alone, the US money supply, M2, has increased by several 100%, far faster than the real economy. Since 2020, trillions have been added through emergency spending and stimulus. And like every empire before, we told ourselves it was fine, because everyone uses dollars. But the same logic Spain used for silver, Britain for pounds, and Moscow for oil-backed rubles is now our national excuse. The only difference is the logo on the paper. The US switched to a pure fiat system in 1971. No gold, no backing, just trust. Since then, the dollar's purchasing power has declined by roughly 85 to 90%. When money becomes easy, reality becomes expensive. Groceries, housing, healthcare, everything spikes, while wages can't keep up. The middle class feels poorer, even when they're working harder. What starts as a quick fix to fund power soon becomes an addiction. The more money you create, the less it's worth, and the harder it gets to stop. Stage 3. The debt spiral. Every empire hits a point where spending becomes survival. Today, America owes over $36 trillion, about 120% of GDP, and we're still borrowing every year. In 2025, interest payments alone are approaching $1 trillion. That means we now spend more just paying interest than we do on defense. That's the definition of a debt spiral. Borrowing money just to pay for previous borrowing. And yet we keep calling it normal. Politicians argue about budgets like it's theater, but both sides keep spending. Deficits during wartime make sense. Deficits during peace and growth mean the system's broken. When you can't raise taxes without revolt, can't cut spending without crisis, and can't print without inflation, the math takes over. Spain defaulted 4 times. Britain devalued its currency. The Soviets ran out of usable money. We're heading toward the same wall, but faster, because our system is bigger, more interconnected, and harder to stop. And while the balance sheets burn, something deeper begins to break. The ability to actually produce what keeps a country alive. Stage 4. Loss of productive capacity. Here's the stage most people don't notice until it's too late. Spain had all the gold and silver in the world, and it killed its economy. When wealth comes easy, production becomes optional. Why work, innovate, or build when you can just spend? That same mindset defines modern America. We design and consume, but we barely produce. Factories moved overseas. Supply chains stretch across oceans. We import nearly $800 billion more than we export every year. We rely on China for electronics, India for pharmaceuticals, Mexico for manufacturing, and even foreign suppliers for parts of our military equipment. The United States, once the industrial heart of the 20th century, now can't function without foreign production. And just like Spain, we've built a system that works only when the world keeps sending us goods in exchange for our dollars. But when countries start trading in other currencies, like the yuan or rupee, those dollars stop circulating abroad. They come home. And when they do, they flood the system with inflation that can't be exported anymore. That's when collapse moves from theory to reality. And once that pride fades, the collapse stops being economic. It becomes emotional. Stage 5. Social decay. Every empire reaches the same point when the cracks stop being financial and start being cultural. Look around America. Trust in institutions is near zero. Congress has an approval rating lower than used car salesmen. Every election feels like a civil war. Cities are struggling with homelessness, crime, and addiction on a scale we've never seen before. More than 100,000 Americans die every year from overdoses. Fertility rates have hit record lows. The middle class, once the country's pride, is shrinking. We used to be a nation of builders. Now it takes 10 years just to approve a bridge. We used to debate ideas. Now we cancel people for opinions. This is what social decay looks like. When culture turns inward, when elites stop solving problems, and when people lose faith that the system can fix itself. And that's where we are right now. Stage 5. Stage 6. Loss of reserve currency status. Every empire thinks its currency is untouchable, until it isn't. BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are building payment systems outside the dollar. Central banks are buying record amounts of gold. Saudi Arabia, the backbone of the petrodollar system, has considered accepting yuan for some oil trades. It's not about the dollar disappearing overnight. It's about credibility. When other countries start trusting alternatives, the dollar's dominance slowly erodes. Trade moves elsewhere. Dollars flood back home. And once that happens, prices explode. You can't inflate your currency forever and still expect the world to treat it as sacred. When that trust goes, the superpower illusion goes with it. 2026 might be the moment the illusion cracks. The debt ceiling fights, inflation, and social anger are all building pressure. By 2026, America's interest payments could surpass $1.2 trillion. More than education, healthcare, and defense combined. Stage 7. Collapse. Collapse doesn't happen slowly. It happens suddenly. And then, all at once. For America, the trigger won't be war. It'll be math. A debt crisis, a currency crisis, a political breakdown. Maybe all three at once. You'll know it's here when the US dollar starts falling faster than the Fed can stop it, when interest rates explode, and when allies begin signing new defense and trade deals that don't include Washington. And it won't just be numbers on a chart. It'll be layoffs, bankruptcies, vanished pensions, and mass unrest. The military will face funding shortfalls. Promises like Medicare and Social Security will be impossible to pay. The government will print more and make it worse. the US has already checked off the first 5 stages: military overextension, currency debasement, debt spiral, loss of productive capacity, and social decay. That leaves 2 stages: the loss of the dollar's global dominance and the rapid implosion that follows. What's terrifying is how fast the pace has accelerated. Spain took almost a century to burn out. Britain took half that. The Soviets collapsed in less than 3 years, and we're speeding through the same sequence, only faster, with more debt, more global exposure, and a population that can't even agree on what reality is. You can't spend forever. You can't borrow forever. You can't hollow out your economy, divide your society, and debase your money and expect to stay on top forever. If the pattern continues, America's fall won't be a slow fade. It'll be sudden. A financial heart attack, not a slow decline. That's not fear-mongering. That's history repeating itself one more time in the same order for the same reasons. And unless something changes, the empire that once ruled the modern age will join the same list as Spain, Britain, and the Soviet Union. So what do you think about this? Let us know in the comments below. And make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel. We've included sources for several of the facts mentioned. Find them in the description.